And now, let's meet the starters for tonight's game. For the Thunder, a 6'5" forward from Toledo, Ohio, number 44, Miles Copeland. For the Scots, a 6'5" forward from Flint, Michigan, number 2, Trine. For the Thunder, a 6'3" forward from Centerville, Ohio, number 10, Kyle Dodson. For the Scots, a 6'4" forward from McBain, Michigan, number 23, Trevor Gurna. For the Thunder, a 6'8" center from Ottawa Hills, Ohio, number 34, Alex Cummings. For the Scots, a 6'3" center from Sanford, Michigan, number 32, Kevin Shepard. For the Thunder, a 6-foot guard from Indianapolis, Indiana, number 3, Will Dixon. For the Scots, a 6'3" guard from Grand Rapids, Michigan, number 11, Stephen Harvey. For the Thunder, a 5'11" guard from Corona, Indiana, number 1, Addison Dodd. And for the Scots, 6'2" guard from Willow, Michigan, number 12, Ryan Stevens. And coaching the Thunder, Mr. Brooks Miller.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Night Basketball here on AlmaScots.com. A home basketball action for the Scots versus the Trine Thunder in a matchup of a pair of teams that are part of a three-way tie for third in the middle of the MIAA standings, but also a rematch of last year's MIAA tournament title game won by Alma, and both teams looking to have the chance to get back to that title game, and that makes tonight's matchup extremely important. Topher Goggin, Harrison Lalone with you here live from the Art Smith Arena on the Alma College campus. And what do you expect between these two teams tonight, Harrison?
Definitely a tough-fought battle. It's going to come down to similar to the Calvin game. Can Alma overcome the inability to rebound?
Right.
With two big men inside for Trine, this is definitely going to be their hardest-fought game inside.
Sure. Scots with a -7 rebound differential in conference play. That has been the bugaboo. Their shooting has been terrific, shooting right around a 50% clip once again this year, scoring nearly 81 points a game. Trine comes in averaging about 73.5 per game, and they sport guard Will Dixon, the highly talented gentleman wearing number 3 who has the ball right now. Two-time first-team All-MIAA selection, over 1,500 career points, one of only 12 players in Trine history to do that. But it's going to be Miles Copeland, their leading scorer their last two games, who gets things started with the layup tonight, and the Thunder take a 2-0 advantage. First possession for the Scots. Trevor Gurna will fake up a 3 and work one-on-one against Kyle Dodson, up and under, and the move is good, and Gurna ties things up. Gurna coming off 16 on Saturday afternoon in a loss to Calvin. This is Dixon squared up against Stephen Harvey, one of multiple freshmen in this starting lineup. The two freshman guards get the start, but we'll see far more youngsters checking into the game as things go along. And Scheibert with a block on the Copeland attempt. Back come the Scots in transition. Harvey tries to take it in against Addison Dodd. Pass tipped over by Copeland, but the Scots keep it alive. Long three-point try. Gurnati's got another one.
This happens every single game, it seems like.
Gurnat is quick out of the gates, especially at home. And well on his way to continuing his leading scorer status, 15.9 points per game. Had 19 at Trine last year in an overtime win for Alma that included 10 of 10 at the free throw line. Here's Dixon with a nice take to the right to go around Stevens, but no good on the shot. Rebounded by Harvey. 5-2 Alma here in the early going. Edwards comes in, kicks it out. Can Gurnat strike again? He can! Trevor Gurnat, 8, Trine 2, in less than 2 minutes into the action here.
And last time down the floor, Trine's offense left and ran on the fast break pretty soon and allowed Alma to get the rebound and no second chance points. It's a very interesting strategy considering you can rebound against Alma pretty easily.
Copeland feeds Cummings. He comes up just off to the right. Scheibert, the junior, coming off 12 on Saturday after returning to the starting lineup here over the last couple weeks due to more Scots injuries. Chase Fairchild, the latest victim of the Alma injury bug, out for the season with an Achilles injury. A big, big loss. Stevens pass tipped and stolen by Cummings. And back come the Thunder. Dixon around Granat along the baseline. Thought about the reverse layup. Instead, he'll try a little jumper in the lane, and there's your first two of the night from Will Dixon. He's got a season high of 31 and has not been held under double figures all season long. Scheibert for the Scots to the right baseline. High off the window and good. Kevin Scheibert, the first Alma Scott not named Trevor Granat to score, and Alma with a 10-4 lead. Dixon, the 6-footer, working off the dribble. He leads Trine in assists as well. This will be Kyle Dodson for three. That's long off the back iron. And back comes Scheibert for Alma. Granat a little head fake. Works down, up and under. And this one no good. So Granat finally misfires. And back will come the Thunder. Nice crowd here at the Art Smith Arena on a chilly Wednesday night. And the jumper there is Trine will cut it to 10-6 on Dixon's second field goal. Stevens with a kick out to Edwards, now over Granat, fakes the three. And a foul whistled underneath. Will nullify the shot attempt that didn't go from Scheibert anyway.
And ball movement is very much their offense. The last time down the floor you saw Granat in an isolation move, an isolation set, and he ended up missing. That's not his bread and butter. He can do that, but that's not something he would want to do. So seeing ball movement again this possession is something the Scots need to continue.
Luke Lamoureux checks into the game for Alma. Feeds it to Stephen Harvey, who almost has it stripped away by Dixon. Preston Laketta, who's checked in. He connects. Boy, he's about as surefire as Granat to connect on his first shot of the night. Laketta does it again. He did the same thing Saturday. Saturday took about 4 seconds. I'm going to give him 7 seconds of game action before he had 3 points tonight. 13-6. Alma Cummings stumbles as he makes the catch, and let's see. I'm going to get Laketta there, just kind of falling on the ankle of Cummings. That's a tough call on Preston. Langston Johnson into the game, one of the leading three-point shooters on this Trine team, who is capable of shooting it from the perimeter along with the Scots. Alma, a 44% three-point shooting team. Trine, about 42%. This is Dodson, who can also fire from outside, but he'll get it done on the low block, and he's going to go to the line. Dodson, a sophomore out of Centerville, Ohio, had a fine freshman year, both on the court and in the classroom, with a 3.75 grade point average. A couple of 20-point games this season for Dodson, but about an 11-point average. Copeland right back in there for Cummings after a very short rest for Trine. 15:25 to go first half. Alma on top 13-8 as Dodson tries to convert the three-point play. He's an 86% foul shooter. He and Dixon both terrific at the line, but a rare miss that time. And Lamoureux will bring it back for Alma. Scots by 5 here in the early going. Scheibert going to take it off the dribble all the way to the hole, and he's got it up for his second bucket of the night.
Scheibert seems to have become the equalizer. The Scots like to shoot outside, obviously, but Scheibert drives and penetrates continuously and makes the defense have to sit back for a second.
Well, and he's a threat from both places, though. Made a couple of threes against Calvin on Saturday as well, as Dodson answers with the lefty layup that time, so 4 for him. And Trine within 5, 15-10 once again. Harvey through the free throw circle, finds Granat, just off on that long try, and now a foul. And it's going to go against Edwards on the rebound.
Tough call to make there as well.
Looked like Edwards might have gotten hit on the wrist, but apparently it was how he got into position to be hit on the wrist that was the issue. Dixon, a little jumper from the right elbow. That's good. Sweet shot there by Will Dixon. And he has 6 to lead Trine, half of their points He had 23 of Trine's 50 here at Alma last year in a 69-50 Scots win. Scots won all 3 matchups between these schools last year. Scheibert again, he's got 6. And now Dixon against Lamoureux. 3-point try coming over on the far side, in, out, around, but not down for Johnson. And Alma will return to their end. 17-12 Scots, 13:45 to go first quarter, and Harvey with the runner. Took Stephen Harvey a little while to get started on Saturday, but he drained 3 triples in the second half. Kept the Scots close. 3-point try now, top of the key. That's just off to the right. Granat gets up and grabs another rebound. He'll pull back, look all the way back to Coach Sam Hargraves for some instruction from the bench. Scots with a 7-point lead about 7 minutes into this one. Lamoureux going to take it off the dribble, draws the contact, shot no good, and rebounded underneath there by Suzuki, senior out of Sacramento. And now a feed to Copeland. Strong move, but just a little off balance, not able to get it under control. No good. Rebounded underneath by Dixon. Dixon, a do-everything kind of guy in the top 5 in multiple categories in the MIAA stats. Harrison will have more on that when we get a quick stoppage, as Trine is represented just about everywhere in the stats. Here's Dixon with the long-range try. Can't get that one. Brooks Miller, Trine head coach, says we don't need quick shots. Trying to slow his guys down, and Lamoureux the reverse, and a timeout for Trine as Alma now leads by 9.
So you mentioned Dixon's stat line. So averages just under 19 points a game, which puts him 4th in the MIAA. Averages 4.2 assists per game, puts him 3rd in the MIAA. Averages 34 minutes a game, 2nd in the MIAA. And then also 85.5% from the free throw line, which puts him 4th in the MIAA.
Now, the young man is a real deal, and 6 points already, and that's something that Alma's got to be careful of. One of the problems that Alma has really struggled with this year has been singular performances. One guy going big against him. Goes all the way back to the Finlandia game when Brandon Robinson went bananas in the second half. He had 36 in that one, but Christian Gerlina of Whitworth had 28. We saw 28 from Michael Wilkes from Calvin over the weekend. 7 different players scoring 25 points or more. So that has been the problem for the Scots. They haven't really been victimized by the team that has 5 guys in double figures. It's been that one guy that they haven't been able to stop in the games where they've come up short. Copeland a little too strong. Stevens comes back, does not have numbers. He'll wait. Feed it to Jared Long. Guard out of Montrose, who's seen increased minutes here as of late. With a little head fake, little pick and roll, finds Edwards underneath, and Edwards wisely goes under the basket for the reverse, and he's got his first 2 of the night. Scots to a double-digit lead at 23-12, 11:42 to go in the first. Daub finds Suzuki. Now this will be Johnson. Both teams going deep on their bench here in the early going, and Edwards with a steal. 3-on-3, Lamoureux will bring it in, now feed it across, Long open for 3, late closeout from Suzuki, too late, and Jared Long, good from long range. That was not intentional, the long from long range, sorry about that. But don't count on me not doing it again. Trying to get their bearings in the midst of this Scots run. Trying to figure out anything that'll work, and falling down is not going to be the answer as Suzuki loses his footing. Long, too big of a head fake, the old head fake that pulls your own feet right off the ground, and Long travels. 10:55 now, first half, 26-12, Alma. As we said, 3 for 3 against the Thunder last year, although it wasn't easy. They had a huge lead at Trine. Led that game 20-2 early, and Trine took it to overtime on a Dixon jumper with 8 seconds to go. Scots only pulling away to run in that overtime period, eventually a 96-91 win. The other 2 games between the teams, very low scoring. And there's going to be Copeland the Siena Heights transfer with a nice take to the basket. He's got 4. 4 from Copeland, 4 from Dodson, 6 from Dixon. That's the entire scoring for Trine. Alma's got 26 already. Oh, and the drop step and spin from Edwards.
It's not often anymore Ty Edwards gets to be bigger in the size matchup on offense.
Right, I mean, playing really perhaps not his natural position, forced to be a big man, and probably would be more of a 3 at this level. And the travel from Trine will give Alma the ball back. Trine's going to change its defensive alignment around and try to take away some of the size advantage that Edwards has been enjoying so far. Stevens to Lamoureux. Back up top to Stevens. Stevens coming off a triple, almost double on Saturday, where he was double digits in scoring and then 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Almost got there to go with his 14 points. Trine out on the perimeter. We said about a 42% three-point shooting team, more than capable of firing from out there. Dixon at the top of the key with 9. Long briefly knocks the ball loose. Shot clock now down to 5. And Dixon the pull-up. No good. Rebound loose. Who's going to get there? It'll be the out-of-bounds line that gets there. Gernot back in for Edwards on the Scott side. Cummings in for Copeland. Those two have kind of moved in and out for each other so far.
Both of those guys did start, however, but the reason for that is because Alma doesn't have necessarily a big man, they can be fair to rotate those two guys instead of having them on the floor at the same time.
And there you see the height of Cummings. It looked like Scheibert was going to steal the inbound. Cummings just goes over the top of him, takes it away, misses, gets his own rebound, and then lays it up and in. Trine cuts the lead to 12 at 28-16, halfway through the first stanza here. Trevor Gernot, who was red hot is the term I'm looking for early. Moved off a little bit, but now back in there. One-on-one with a size advantage. Needs to avoid a 5-second call. Just gets it on the floor, rotates across the lane, and draws the foul. Gernot will shoot a pair.
There's that isolation work again. You know, he can do it. I just don't think that that's necessarily the comfortable part of his offensive game.
Yeah, not the most common place to see Gernot taking it there. Gernot continues his fine free throw shooting against Trine, as we said, 10 of 10 down in Angola last year. Trine, about 2,000 students in their main campus in Angola, Indiana, about 5,000 across the university. The former Tri-State University, renamed in 2008 after alumnus Ralph Trine. Didn't even know that until I was researching, but a 1961 grad. Down low, and Cummings fouled hard by Stevens, who basically says, I'll concede the foul. You're not getting an easy bucket out of this. Cummings just under 8 points a game. 6'8" junior out of Ottawa Hills, Ohio. No good on his first foul shot. Coming off 14 and Trine's close loss to Hope back on Saturday. They trailed the whole way, but put a real scare into Hope, getting within 2 in the final minute. And Cummings splits the pair to make it 30-17. Gernot, the ball fake, just keeps that pivot foot down. Now he'll take it down the left side of the lane, get to the rack and lay it in. That's the danger that you talked about with some of the other Scots players. Pick your poison. Do you step out and defend the 3? Or if you do that, then you see him go right by like Gernot did. Here's Johnson, the 3-point shooter. That one won't fall. Trine has struggled from the perimeter here so far. And the ball knocked out of bounds.
Trine has been the first team so far, to my knowledge, that has played more to the perimeter against the Scots. A lot of teams will come in here defensively and challenge them to shoot the 3, but Trine has come in knowing that they can shoot the 3, so they're trying to come out, and now the Scots are taking advantage with the spaces inside.
Well, that's been a story for Trine this year. They've been victimized from the outside. They've given up 14, 12, and then 13 threes against Hope on Saturday. The other two coming against ranked teams who are very good three-point shooters, including North Park, who the Scots also played on the road. Here's Scheibert along the baseline, and a call. And you get a blocking foul underneath, going against Cummings. It was almost as if Scheibert gave up on trying to draw the block for fear of getting called for a charge and went with the kick out, but the whistle blew in his favor anyway. 7:48, and now the call going to go the other direction against Lamoureux, and it'll be Trine basketball. Official vehement that these subs are not coming into the game yet. Just a little too late to the scorer's table. You'll have to take a seat. Dixon quickly off a screen, now looking for a kick out that's not there. And Lamoureux full steam ahead, alley-oop to nobody. Cummings way up high to swat that away. We saw the Scots warming up the alley-oops in the pregame. And Lamoureux obviously smelled it with Scheibert trailing the play, but failed to account for Cummings coming through about a foot higher than anybody else.
And I'm willing to bet Coach Hargraves there, when Lamoureux walked back over to the bench, was not overly happy, but would have been very excited to see that go through.
But might have still gotten a chuckle out of it. You've got a little more leeway with a 15-point lead to try that. 7:35 to go in the first half, 32-17. Alma on top of this one so far. Trevor Gernot going to go from deep this time. A little short on that. Edwards tries to keep the rebound alive, but ends up tipping it to Johnson. Dixon at the other end. He'll kick it back out. Dixon had 6 quick ones, but has slowed down as Alma has had him blanketed. Langston Johnson will kick it out to Dixon. Again off a screen. 3-point try, no. And Harvey will bring it back, and then Stevens will wait for it. One thing we saw from Stevens on Saturday was his acceleration to the basket. You forget how fast he is, even though he's a quarterback in high school. 4.8 40-yard dash speed as Gernot hits from the foul line to extend his scoring to 13 here. But Gernot can definitely, Stevens can definitely go right by you if you're not ready. Gernot can too. Dixon for the Thunder. And now a whistle underneath. And a foul or a 3-second violation? No, it is a foul. And that's going to go against Johnson. The freshman out of Elkhart, Indiana.
Something I'm beginning to notice while we're talking about this is that almost every Scots player has this similar play style. They all can beat you on penetration if they want, but would more than happy just shooting threes.
Sure. Scheibert bounce pass to Edwards. Edwards might be the one exception to that where you just flip those two roles. Would prefer to take it to the basket, but if that's going to be taken away, he'll take the three. But I think that's largely true when you look especially at least at the other 4 players on the floor between Stevens, Harvey, Gernot, Scheibert. All very competent perimeter shooters. And as we said, a 44% three-point shooting team. And taking advantage of it tonight, the Scots 4 for 6 from outside, Trine 0 for 5. They'll try inside with Copeland instead, which has been effective. Alma struggling to defend the 6'5" and very long Miles Copeland. I would wager that his wingspan is longer than the average 6'5" person. Gernot, multiple fakes, finally gets left open and then gets a favorable bounce off the back of the iron. Any way that you can get it to go down counts. And Gernot with 15 here and still 5 minutes to go in the first half.
That's the kind of shooter's touch that you talk about, the ability to put the ball up and it finds its way in for you.
Dotson back in, replacing Daub. This is Cameron Harrington, a freshman who checked in a moment ago. Harrington had a huge 25-point game earlier this year against Great Lakes Christian. And a travel will give this over to the Scots. That was a game they're trying just lit up the scoreboard, 119-61 in that one, their highest scoring output since 2004, and it included a 34-0 run in the second half. Just a little over 5 minutes to play in the first half here. Alma by 17, close to doubling up on Trine at the moment. That one intercepted way short on that pass from Granat, taken away by Dodson. Dixon will come back with it. Inside Copeland. Scheibert tries to DM up and picks the middle ground that is the worst as a defender of committing the foul but not stopping the shot. And a strong move there by Miles Copeland, who now leads Trine in scoring with 8. Scheibert just kind of left helpless there. Nobody from the Scots came and helped him. And Scheibert's going to have a hard time defending Copeland one-on-one. Copeland now with 9.
And that's something the Thunder need to continue to attack until they can eventually draw someone off of the Scots bench that can defend him.
Stevens with it. And Scheibert. I wonder if Alma has detected that Trine will overcommit to that 3, because you see the Scots shooters, a lot of ball fakes and head fakes out on the perimeter. Now Edwards inside Scheibert, wide open. Little off on that one. A good closeout by Dixon. Made that shot more difficult than it looked like it would be. Prior to that miss, Alma was shooting 71% from the floor. Here's Granat for a triple. That's good. That'll bounce it right back up there. And Granat's got 18. He had 33 against Augustana in game 2. Threatening that number once again here tonight.
Tell you what, the Scots don't get many, but second chance points will always kill a team.
Well, that was the thing with the 2 losses last week to Calvin and Hope. Obviously, the 2 teams at the top of the MIAA as Copeland scores again and will go to the line. Alma had 1 offensive rebound against Hope and 2 against Calvin. And you can't get second chance points without at least having second chances. So to the extent that Alma can improve on those numbers, you are exactly right. That actually was their first offensive rebound of the night, but they turn it into 3 second chance points. Copeland, meanwhile, off to a fantastic start once again. And he's got another one. Single-handedly keeping Trine in this game, down 39-25 with 4:07 to go in the first half. Copeland will get a breather now. He had 22 points against Hope on Saturday, 21 against Ohio Northern earlier in the year, along with 10 rebounds. Alma inside Scheibert, turnaround jumper from just inside the foul line. No good and rebounded by Dixon. Harvey will chase, but will not get there. Dodson will trigger a quick 3. Nope. And again, Trine cannot find the range from the outside. Scheibert reaches back to make the catch, a little over the shoulder toss to Laqueta, outside to Granat. A surprising miss from Trevor Granat based on how this first half is going. Dixon to Cisniewski. Pardon me, threw too many consonants in there. Now Cummings with the sky hook. Kareem out there. What a play by Ellis Cummings. He's got 5. And it's 39-27. Trine hanging around, but Laqueta answers for Alma with a fall away in the lane.
It's not too often you see a kind of shooter like Laqueta that doesn't have to be on balance to shoot, and frankly, it doesn't seem like he's comfortable when he's on balance.
Might be better off balance. Exactly right. Put him in one of those zero gravity planes. Inside Dodson spins 360 degrees on his pivot foot and lays it in. Most of the usual suspects getting into the action here for Trine, but Alma has done well against Will Dixon, holding him to 6 early points, but nothing in about the last 12 minutes of game action. Scheibert, nice double clutch to fake Cummings into the air. You see Cummings with a grimace after that shot went down. Knew that Scheibert got the best of him with that fake. Just over 2 minutes to play in the half. Dixon this time open for 3. And another long-range miss. Dodson gets the rebound. He'll try from closer and uses the window. Not a spot on the floor you normally see that one banked in. But Dodson does it nicely. Makes it 43-31. Laqueta for 3. See, on balance. There's your problem. Laqueta had a good look at that one. And the Scots keep it alive with the offensive rebound. Stevens trapped by Dixon. Needs help. Gets it from Harvey. They'll go cross-court over to Granat. Fake against Suzuki. And Suzuki going to get called for the reach on the way by. And maybe not a bad foul there if you're trying.
And if it weren't for that foul at the perimeter, I think he would have ended up getting a blocking call inside underneath the rim.
Bernat was on the express train to the backboard. Scheibert looks to get it in with 1:35 to go in the half. Finds Harvey deep in the 5 count. Alma by 12, 43-31. It was the 5th Trine team foul of the half. Bernat no good on the jumper. Laketta gets the rebound, loses it, but Stevens will keep it here. And the Scots will now reset with a fresh shot clock and 1:16 left till halftime. Laketta the screen. And the screen again, right into the chin of Dodson. Almost chin-to-chin contact. They both took the brunt of that one. Laketta sets a 3rd screen, tries to roll to the basket. And now Alma will get to him. And an off-balance jumper from Preston Laketta. We'd have to say that, and now it bears itself out. But 7 big points off the bench from Preston Laketta. He averages 12, and he's been in double digits every game except one since coming into a varsity role. 36 seconds left for Trine. Little backdoor look over the shoulder, and Copeland will finish, and the foul.
I think once you get to that point, if you're Preston Laketta or almost anybody else on defense, you almost need to just let that happen. Both Copeland and Cummings have shown that they can finish through contact.
That is 3 fouls against Laketta in the first half. And I tell you what, if you're Trine, it would appear that there is one recipe in this game, and that is to get it down low to your big guys. Copeland now with 15, Cummings has 5 as well, so 20 of Trine's 34 coming from those 2 guys in the paint. We don't have a points in the paint comparison here on our live stats, but there's no question that that is the primary stat that Trine is winning. Alma dominating a lot of other categories, most notably their 5 3-pointers to Trine's 0 for 7 performance from the outside. Alma still shooting 63% from the floor. Shot clock and game clock about the same, 12 seconds on the game clock, 9 on the shot. Lamoureux working against Suzuki, now out. Stevens will try a 3 with 2 on the shot clock, no good, 2 on the game clock now. Johnson will have to heave it, he's got it off, but off to the left. So the Scots will take an 11-point lead into the break. They took off in the middle of that half, and then Trine kind of struck a balance. It was a pretty even back and forth for the last 5 minutes or so of that half. But Alma still a comfortable advantage for the time being. They'll head in, try to figure out what they can do to defend down low. Trine will try to figure out how to score some points from the outside, and everybody will regroup. We'll try it for another 20 minutes of basketball. Take a quick break here from the Art Smith Arena. You're watching Alma Scots basketball live on almascots.com.
And Alma returns home on February 1st to take on Calvary.
45-34 Alma at the half here. About 2.5 minutes left in the halftime break. Scott's already out for their second half warm-up. Trine still in the locker room, probably trying to find a bigger basket to shoot three-pointers into. That has been the difference here. Trine in the first half 0 for 8 from long range. Alma 5 for 11. Trine has really held serve with pretty much everything else, including a strong performance in the paint. Miles Copeland, 15 points, including 3 3-point plays. And so far, Alma just really hasn't had a defensive answer for him. Preston Laketta picks up 3 first-half fouls. Kevin Scheibert at 6'3" has had to do a lot of the dirty work. And I assume that we will see more of that from Trine trying to get it inside. And if the Thunder can heat up from outside, we'll have a close second half. On the other hand, if they stay cold, when you're getting 3 for 2 every time, Alma's going to be able to stretch things out, which is what they did in that first stanza.
But it's not taking much for Trine to keep up either late in this first half. As Copeland would get the ball inside, he would create 3-point plays of his own, finishing over top of Scheibert or over top of Laketta, getting the foul and getting to the line. 3 times he had 3-point plays.
Now, and the other question for Alma defensively is, can they maintain this high level of defense that they've played against Will Dixon, the 6-foot guard senior from Indianapolis, 2-time first-team All-MIAA selection. Held to only 6 points in the first half, and those 6 came in about the first 3 minutes, frankly. Alma really neutralizing him from there on. But he's somebody who led the conference in steals as a sophomore. He's a 4-time MIAA Player of the Week, including once last December. Opened the season with 3 20-point games and followed that with a 31-point game. So, he is very, very dangerous. Alma cannot take it for granted that they're going to be able to keep him in check for another 20 minutes. So, Scots have got to keep that defensive intensity up and keep the scoring going. If the Scots post another 45 points in the second half, Trine's going to be hard-pressed to come back from that kind of a deficit. But Alma certainly cannot afford to take its foot off the gas pedal after another very efficient first half offensively.
I think the main focus coming into the second half right now should really be Trine keeping their physicality on defense inside. Taking away the penetration from Scheibert and Edwards and Gernat, and creating a bigger, more physical inside presence and not allowing second chance points for the Scots.
Well, and that's a good point. You look at the Scots scoring breakdown. They make 5 3-pointers in the first half, but that's only 15 of their 45 points. So the other 30 are coming either on buckets closer to the basket or free throws. Alma shoots just 2 for 2 from the foul line as well. So they're getting in towards the basket in a spot that you wouldn't necessarily expect. First Scots possession continues after the ball being tipped out of bounds. Alma shoots 19 of 30 in the first half, 63%. Trying a very respectable 16 of 32, just not able to get it done from the outside. Sorry, 15 of 32. We actually had a scoring correction to the stats during the half. But nonetheless, 47% from the floor for Trine. It's just the Scots lighting it up once again. Here's Gernat. Can he start the first half, the second half like the first? He can, and that's 22 points for Trevor Gernat, averaging just over 16 a game on the season. He had more than that in the first half. Inside Copeland, outside Dixon, thought about the long 3. Dixon, to his credit, has remained patient. Even though he hasn't put up a lot of scores, he also hasn't been forcing shots. Dotson with a little fake, now to Copeland, and now a try from outside, and a connection there from Jordan Craiglow, who's into the game for, I think, perhaps his first action. A sophomore out of Gibsonburg, Ohio, averaging just 4 points per game. But a big connection from outside, and Trine finally on the board from the perimeter. Edwards one-on-one against Ellis Cummings. Kick out over to Scheibert, and he traveled after the fake. Kind of a delayed call there from the officiating crew. But he pumped that hard in the direction of Harvey, pulled it back, and took off before he put it on the ground.
New development to watch. That last time Ty Edwards down inside was not getting any contact from the defender. They were giving him space almost as if they know he's that much faster and you have to give him that space, and that could prove to be lethal for Edwards offensively.
Dotson inside, goes with the left hand. He is very adept with both sides, right and left. That time it's the left hand from the right side. And Trine gets it down to single digits at 48-39. Scheibert down the lane. He'll be fouled and shoot a couple. Disappointed he wasn't able to finish, but he'll get the 2 at the charity stripe. As we mentioned, the Scots were only 2 for 2 in the first half. Not a lot of opportunities. Foul on Dodson, his second. Oh, wow, they called that on the floor. So a non-shooting situation, pardon me. So it would not have mattered even if Scheibert had gotten the basket to fall. Scots will set up half court instead. Edwards singled up, drives in, spins, elevates, too strong off the glass. Stevens tries to keep it alive, and then Gernot throws it backwards around himself, but out of bounds. 48-39, this 11-point Scots lead from the half, cut to 9. Of course, Alma still with the sort of skeletons in the closet of that second half loss against Finlandia, where Finlandia went just crazy out of the second half. 36 points from Robinson for Finlandia in that one, most of them coming after the break. And Alma will want to avoid a repeat performance of that one. After a defensive stop, Edwards down on the low block for the Scots, outside Harvey, inside Edwards. Scheibert will try a kick out. And now Harvey in and uses the window once again. It's been kind of a quiet night in the scoring department for Harvey, who averages just under 10 a game, but he's got 4 now after using the window on that one. And now foul on the Scots, non-shooting situation. And that'll be Scheibert. Scheibert called for his second. Here's Dixon, a little runner. Nicely off the glass. And there's the touch of the two-time all-conference selection. His first bucket since early in the first half. Edwards a little give and go back to Stevens. Airballs the 3. Surprising miss from Ryan there. And here's Dixon all the way to the hole. Draws the defender, so he'll kick it back out. Craiglow now with it. Craiglow actually was a starter for 4 games earlier this season. Has not been in the starting lineup as of late. Came in here in the second half and hit that immediate 3. 7 on the shot clock as Dixon sets up, goes through a nice screen, gets an open look, but again can't get it to go. Cummings the putback, and that won't fall either. Puts Miller screaming at the officials that Dixon got hit on the elbow as he took that shot with Gernot coming over late. Edwards looking underneath. Gernot in the post, going to try to take it with a height advantage against Edwards, and he traveled with it, or against Dixon, pardon me. Gernot with a substantial size advantage, 4 inches on Will Dixon. And Alma getting him into the post. Certainly that's something that Alma will look for. If they can force Will Dixon into a post defense position, that's going to be a mismatch every time.
Absolutely. And this last time, you could almost see a little bit of frustration on Gernot's face, something you don't normally see out of him. He's usually very composed, so hopefully this doesn't get into his head too much.
There's Dixon off balance along the baseline, in and out, rebounded Edwards. 15-50 to go in this one, 50-41 Alma. Scheibert scoops it, Edwards wants a 3, and he's got it. Ty Edwards' development as a 3-point threat this year has been big, coming in at 47% on the season. And that connection puts Alma back up by 12. Dodson, as Craiglow basically runs over Gernot. Briefly gave Dodson some room. Dodson now has it back. Tough shot around Edwards, and a strong move there. Trine wanted a timeout, did not get it. Dodson now has 12. Edwards to Scheibert and back to Edwards. Inside Gernot and fouled. And once again, Trine trying to guard Trevor Gernot with a pair of guards in Dixon and Johnson down low. So Gernot to the charity stripe, 22 points so far. Still has a ways to go to match the season high 33 from back against Augustana, but that gets him 1 closer.
Ten points isn't hard to come by for Trevor Gernot, though, either.
Didn't take long in the first half, did it? Of course, Gernot, a transfer last year out of Mid-Michigan Community College, originally from McBain Northern Michigan Christian. And from what I understand, the Granat family, formerly on the Lalone family milk route back in the day.
Absolutely. Trevor is part of a family that my dad has known for about 30 to 40 years now.
There you go. Trine's just going to get it into the front court and call timeout with Alma back up by 12 at 55-43. So even though Trine's execution there in the early part of that half kind of whittled away at the Alma lead, now Alma really keyed by that three by Edwards, pushes it back out. Now they get the 2 foul shots from Granat. And one of the things when you've got this type of double-digit lead, you can effectively get away with just holding serve and bleeding the clock, and the Scots are already a quarter of the way home here in this second half.
And that's something you saw a lot at the end of the first half, a lot of slow sets that took 20 to 25 seconds every time. And especially towards the end, 2 offensive rebounds. They strung together a possession that took almost a minute and a half off the clock nearing the end of the first half.
Alma will head down to, oops, now I missed it. Was it Albion or Adrian for the guys on Saturday? That's Albion. The women are at Adrian right now. First quarter in that one, Alma with an 11-5 lead. Try to keep you up to speed on that one. Here the score, 55-43, Alma over Trine. Looking to bust out of a 3-way tie for third in the conference. Lob down low, Copeland this time doesn't get it to go off the window, but his putback will draw a foul, and Miles Copeland will shoot a pair. Give that foul to Edwards. Could have gone against Scheibert as well, as they both had a pretty substantial piece of Miles Copeland. That works to the Scots' favor. Would have been Scheibert's third. It's only Edwards' second. Copeland with a rare miss. It was good from the line in the first half at 3 for 3. .66% foul shooter on the season, connects there. It's his first point of the second half, though, after 15 in the first half, so Alma has done well to neutralize him in the early parts here of the second stanza. Stevens to Laquetta, who's checked in a foul against Craiglow, who pretty clearly had a piece of the wrist of Preston Laquetta on that one. Preston hasn't had a lot of trips to the foul line this year, and they're going to call that on the floor. Now they're going to talk this one over. Let's see. And they will say baseline inbound for the Scots, non-shooting situation. Looked pretty clear to me that Laquetta was going to go up with that, so it's just the timing of the foul that makes the difference. Lamro dishes to Laquetta. This time he has it stripped cleanly, but keeps it alive. Granat will try his hand underneath. No, and rebound knocked out of bounds off of the fingertips of Granat. .13 in the second half. Alma with the lead by 11, 55-44 at home against Trine. Had a 19-point win here against the Thunder last year, but Kyle Dodson has something to say about that. He's got Trine's just second 3 of the night, 2 for 10 now. And that cuts down the lead to 8. Scheibert for the Scots. Now to Stevens. Stevens scoreless so far tonight after 14 on the weekend. That pass lucky to get through to Granat, and now Granat will be fouled. It's just strong hands by Trevor Granat to make that catch with 4 Trine hands around. Foul then gets called on Dodson for the Thunder. And that will be his third. So Dodson will take a seat. Jared Long into the game for Alma. Cummings comes back in, so both big men in there for Trine now, and we'll see how that shakes out, as Alma's had enough of a struggle to match up when it's only been one of them. Granat for 3. Around the rim and no good, rebounded by Dixon. Will Dixon still stuck on just 8 points. And will be very pleased with that so far. Inside, Copeland takes it strong against Laquetta, a little too strong, and Granat getting up high to take that rebound away from Cummings despite giving up a couple inches in the matchup. Scheibert, the stutter step, finds himself an open look by spinning to his left.
That's what being a great athlete does for you. It allows you to get more hang time. You can double clutch. You get more space in the air to get balls off like that one.
Wait until the windmill opens up at the putt-putt course, essentially, and that's what he did while he was in the air. Johnson to Craiglow, back to Johnson. Good close out by Long to take away what would have been a wide open three. Now the three is open and Johnson wants it. Can't get it. Gernot will bring it himself for the Scots with a 10-point lead now at 57-47. Amaro, a quick first step out of the corner, and now heads-up play by Gernot. Are they going to give him that timeout? They will. Look at that. Scheibert falls on the ball. Gernot immediately has his hands up to call the timeout and preserve the Scots' possession. And that does preserve a possession, as the arrow would have favored Trine on a jump ball. That's heads up from your senior out there.
Absolutely. You know, you see the stat line almost every game. Trevor Gernot's your scorer pretty consistently and almost obviously. And then he provides so much more. He averages 6.5 rebounds a game. He provides little instances like this. He provides leadership, and normally he provides composure, something that he seems to have been lacking here early in the second half. But he is so much more than just a scorer.
And even with that, I mean, I would not criticize Gernot's composure other than the fact that he is normally so stoic, and we detected a little bit of frustration. It's not like he's picked up a costly foul or made a careless play or anything like that. So Gernot, as far as I'm concerned, A+ in this game. 24 points already, and we still got 12 minutes left. Elevates, and close to a goaltend. Cummings wisely does not touch that one, since he would have been way late, but that also shows you just how high Ellis Cummings can get. Remember him disrupting that alley-oop in the first half. Miss on a three from Dixon. And back come the Scots. Will Harvey pull up? No. Goes to Long. A big collision between Long and Dodson. Is that going to be Dodson's fourth? It indeed is. So Kyle Dodson's return to the game is going to be very short-lived. Right back to the bench. And Cameron Harrington, the freshman out of LaPel, Indiana, back in there. And that's costly for Trine, as Dodson has contributed 15 points. Gernot fakes the three. Tries to go past Harrington. Good defensive help by Cummings. Takes that away. Now Lamoureux, Long 2-point jumper. Can't get that to go. Look at Long get up and keep that rebound alive. And now draw the foul as he gets fallen on by Johnson. Getting those kinds of contributions out of folks like Jared Long. Just a 6-foot freshman out of Montrose, but providing key minutes as Alma finds its bench getting shorter and shorter with the injuries. But then just kind of a next man up mentality has really gotten the job done. Got a couple of fakes. Good job by Cummings to come straight down and not get called for a foul there. Deny that shot. Craiglow at the top of the key as Coach Miller calls out the play to his team. Dobb bounce pass, turnaround jumper from the foul line, and Dixon's still cold. His shooting numbers falling off here a little bit in the second half. Dixon now 4 of 12 from the floor. Lamoureux for Alma with a 10-point lead. Teams have been stuck on 57-47 here for a while. Laquetta will try. Not going to say it, but it's good again from Laquetta. A little scissor kick to that one, like hitting an overhead in tennis.
I think he's just messing with everybody at this point.
That could be. That could be. Once again, Preston Laquetta, who comes up from the junior varsity, double figures in every single game this season he's played except one. Trine with an answer there to get back within 11.
Another guy that was really fun to watch when he came up with Zach Sinke in his first game. When they came up against Elmhurst, Sinke put up 19 points in his first varsity appearance.
Laquetta for three once again. He's got another one. Boom! Preston Laquetta with 13.
Just when you think you find a Scots player that might not be able to shoot threes, he can shoot threes.
Yep. And now Long with a steal. Down he comes. Uncontested layup. Good for Jared Long, and a timeout by Trine. Long with another big contribution. The freshman doing it everywhere for the Scots. Laketta from long range, Long on defense, Long rebounding. And, you know, this is a season that Alma's going to look at for this first half and say, geez, you know, we have, you know, just about everything that could possibly go wrong. Everybody getting hurt, personnel changes and so forth. They're getting so much experience and good play out of these freshmen that they're going to be a dangerous team of freshmen at the end of this season, and imagine what that means for the next 3 years.
Oh, absolutely. But I don't think a couple months ago, if you'd walked into Coach Hargrave's office and said you would be missing Doug Bradfield, Kevin Gamble, Chase Fairchild, along with the seniors you've already lost, I do not think he would have considered this team an MIAA tournament team.
Right.
But here we are. We're seeing freshmen from the JV squad come up and play as if they've been playing on varsity at Alma for a couple years.
If you're a coach at another MIAA school and you see what the Scots are doing with these freshmen, I mean, it might be time to look for a job in a different conference because the next few years are going to be unpleasant. Dobb to Craiglow for Trine. And now the senior leader, Dixon, who is in double figures now at 10. Trine keeping it out on the perimeter. Trine has improved from outside after the tepid start. 2 of 12 from 3 overall now, but 2 of 4 in the second half. And Copeland will get himself back to the line with a foul on Harvey.
Alma's been a lot smarter fouling Copeland so far this half, not letting him even get the chance to finish the shot.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 3 three-point plays in the first half. And this time at least having to do all of the work at the charity stripe. Makes that one. He's split his first set of free throws in the second half, has the front one here. His 17 leads Trine in scoring and now make it 18. Suzuki in. We also see Luke Wenger for the first time tonight. Trine changing its defensive assignments a little bit with those substitutions. Under 10 minutes to play, Alma by 14. That's 65-51. Laketta, a little drive, nothing there. Around to Long, and now Harvey. Laketta right side wants another 3. This one off the front of the rim. Dixon the rebound. And he will push the tempo. More ring around the rosy for the Thunder. Finally, Dixon will take it in and draws another foul. Harvey commits his second in about a minute. A little high five to Dixon, knowing that he got beaten on the take, but Harvey probably makes the right decision there. Does not allow the shot. And will just force Trine to inbound it with a fresh shot clock. Scheibert and Edwards in. Laketta and Harvey take a seat. Cummings right back in there after a short rest for Trine. Dodson is back in for the Thunder as well with 4 fouls. We'll see if the Scots try to take advantage of that. Instead, it'll be Dodson looking from the outside, and he connects. It's an aggressive move to put a player with 4 fouls back in with this much time, but the only way to get 10 more minutes of action out of him is to have him on the floor. If he sits on the bench, you know he can't be scoring. Gernot for 3. No good, and Dodson a rebound.
It's important for the Scots not to settle for shots here, that they can prolong their offensive sets so that they don't shoot in the first 10 seconds of the shot clock.
Sure, continuing to lead by double digits. Already at 8 minutes to go, the clock becomes a friend of the Scots. You can't become too deliberate. 6 on the shot clock as Dixon drives in. A kick out to Dodson. Head fake. Gets Edwards to collide with him. Instead, he'll throw it inside to Cummings, who comes up short on the layup. I think that would have been 3 foul shots if Dodson had fired the shot up. 7:45 to play. Alma by 11. Long fakes his way right past Copeland all the way to the hole and finishes. Jared Long, just the latest diamond in the rough amongst this freshman class that the Scots have discovered. He's got 7 tonight. Dixon will drive in. Swing it over to Craiglow. Preglo again. Shovel pass, Copeland to the hole. Scheibert steps up, cannot deny it, but avoids the foul, and Trine will take a timeout off of Copeland's 19th and 20th points of the night. Still 7:09 to play. Alma maintaining the 11-point lead. That's exactly what it was at the half. The Scots will be happy with that. Scots still with a shooting advantage from the floor, although not as pronounced as before. 56% on 27 of 48 shooting. 46% for Trine, 23 of 50. Alma has 4 offensive rebounds, so that's 4 rebounds out of 19 misses. So not too bad, as that was certainly a point of emphasis for them tonight. Both teams doing a pretty good job of taking care of the basketball. 7 Alma turnovers, 6 for Trine. Trine has fared a little better with 11 points off the turnovers, only 5 for the Scots. And the big difference is what Alma has gotten off its bench, a 22-3 advantage in bench points.
And the interesting thing about bench points, the Scots only play 8 players. So those 22 points are coming from 3 players.
That's a very good point. So that's Long, Lamoureux, and Laquetta, the 3 to come in off the bench.
I think also, I don't know to this point this season if we have ever said at this point in the second half that the Scots are still leading the rebounding category.
There you go. Big thanks in that department goes to Gernot, who has 7 boards and 3 assists to go with his game-leading 24 points. He's got 5. Scheibert and Stevens, or sorry, he has 7. Scheibert and Stevens have 5. 4 from Harvey, 3 from Edwards. So Alma has spread the rebounding load around. This is Stephen Harvey, the freshman from Forest Hills in the Ada area, Forest Hills Eastern. Pass tipped looking for Laquetta and stolen by Cummings.
Really quick reaction there by the defender.
Dixon through the top of the key, trying around the perimeter, and then Preglo just butterfingers loses it. Even the tuck rule couldn't have saved him in football for that one. Alma by 11. Trine coach Brooks Miller looking for 1 stop at a time, and that's what the Thunder need, but they need frequent stops, and that's not one of them, as Laquetta again. 16 for Preston Laquetta.
Kind of hard to get 1 stop at a time if you give Preston Laquetta that kind of space on the perimeter.
Laquetta's career high is 21, and that's within range. Preglo to Dixon. Trine rifling a pass inside to Cummings, and then stripped away by Stevens, who's going to get called for a foul. Can't believe it. Stevens thought he just knocked that ball loose without any other contact. Copeland switches out with Cummings. And Trine may suffer a little bit from just having the 2 big guys. Even though they've both been very effective, they've generally only been able to platoon 1 at a time to try to keep them fresh. And if they had a 3 big rotation that they could go 2 out of 3 at a time and stay fresh, that'd be really hard for a team like Alma to match up with.
There's not too often you see that at this level of basketball. Kalamazoo kind of has that on their roster, but even to that extent, they're not all 3 equally good players.
Sure. I mean, it'd be nice to have like 7 good big guys, but it doesn't work that way. You make a very good point. Alma with a 14-point advantage as we're under 6 minutes to play in the second half. Edwards with it on the perimeter now. Gernot.
Edwards again with a size advantage, and he's not using it.
Yeah, had one-on-one fairly deep against Johnson. Now Stevens sees the shot clock draining and fires from deep. Just off on that one. Preglo will look to run the other way. Dodson from deep himself. He's got that one. And Kyle Dodson is the story. 13 second half points and doing a lot of it from the outside. 3 of 5. Trying to take another timeout. They'll be down to only 1 left here with about 5 minutes to play. But the 3-pointer cuts the lead to 11. And that's kind of been the limit. It's sort of been the midpoint that Trine has maybe gotten it a point or 2 inside there, down to 8 or 9. If that ever happened, Alma immediately pushed it out in the second half. If Alma got much higher to 13, 14, Trine immediately zips it back to 11. It's kind of like that's been the fulcrum here in the second half on the scoreboard.
And I think the dagger will come if Dodson fouls out. at this point so far in the second half, Dodson has been the reason. When he wasn't there in the first half, he is the reason why they are only down by 11 right now. So if he fouls out, I think that's the nail in the coffin for him.
Sure. Well, and Alma has fared obviously much better against Copeland in the second half, holding him to 5 and holding Cummings scoreless. That's come at the expense of Dodson's 13. So far, I have not detected any effort by Alma to try to go at Dodson when Alma's had the ball to try to draw that 5th foul on him, but that might become a point of emphasis that Coach Sam Hargraves would talk about in that timeout huddle. Dodson at the moment will pick up Harvey as the Scots bring it up into the front court with the 11-point lead, 5:05 to go. Lucchetta quick in the shot clock, and he's got the bounce. What was that you were saying about not shooting in the first part of the shot clock? You get an exemption when it goes in. 73, 59, and 19 for Preston Lucchetta. Edwards the steal. Look out, folks. And up and draws the foul. I tell you what, Alma's going to get an extra free throw out of a bad dribble from Tyler Edwards. That first bounce skipped on him just a little bit. That slowed him down, and that gave Trine just enough time to get back and commit the foul.
You know, playing a pseudo center position that he has been all year, he doesn't get these transition opportunities anymore. And so he was probably a little overly excited to get his first slam of the year. And of course, the ball is a skip on him, and he ends up getting 3 points instead of 2.
Well, if he can convert this three-point play, it will work out entirely in his favor. Good poise by Edwards, though, to recognize that he didn't have the position on Dixon to dunk it and to turn it into a layup, get the 2 points for sure. Now can't get the roll on the free throw. Foul was Dixon's first, but just like that, Alma pushes the 11-point lead to 16. Dixon right back in off the glass, and good. And you see right there the moves that have made Will Dixon a multi-time first-team all-conference selection. Alma led by 10 in the second half against Trine last year in the MIAA title game. Dixon the steal, and this will be an uncontested layup. And that's how Will Dixon led the league in steals as a sophomore. Giving examples of all of that. And Trine did close in that game, got within 1, but Alma, very good foul shooting is what won them the tournament title last year. Ball out of bounds, back to Alma. 4:03 to go, Alma by 12. Again, our regression to an 11-point lead theory appears to work as Alma got it to 16, and immediately Will Dixon scores 4 to cut it back to 12. Under 4 to go. Scott's looking to move to 3-2 in MIAA play, 7-9 overall. Trine comes in at 7-8. Gernot on the reversal, and beautiful. Gernot had quieted down briefly there, but that's 26 points now for Trevor to go with 7 boards and 3 assists. Dixon wants it back. You can see that he wants to take this game into his hands if Trine's going to get back into it, and that makes sense. You want your superstar leading the charge. Now a whistle away from the ball on Harvey. Be his third. Copeland and Scheibert both returned. Lucchetta takes a seat. Lucchetta's conversion in terms of points per time, he only played 4 minutes in the first half. He's played a bit more here in the second half. Dixon driving short on the layup. Good defense by Scheibert. But Lucchetta 19 points in what is probably a total of 12 or 13 minutes of game action. Scots with 3:14 separating them from a victory and a 14-point lead. They've already drained 16, 17 seconds on this possession. Inside to Gernot. One-on-one against Dixon. Fakes his way right around him and scoops it up and in. Will Dixon ball fake.
Have to start.
From Trine in the first half where they struggled. They have really undone that thanks to Kyle Dodson here in the second half, who hits another. Trine not going away. Stevens looking to push the Scots. Lead out, will not. Rebound knocked out of bounds by Alma. So Trine still clinging to life. Down 13 with 2:26 to play. And Dixon's actually going to come to the bench. I don't expect that's going to last very long. I think just out of gas. He needs one possession to recharge. Dodson will drive in, kick it over to Johnson now into the corner. Harrington for 3. Long rebound. Secured by Edwards, but now stolen by Harrington. just stayed back, sort of reverse cherry picking. But then trying to misfire, and Stevens will slow it down for Alma. Under 2 minutes now. Alma by 13. Scott's very deliberate again. Spin move, drive by Stevens, and now just try to kick it out, but Craiglow steps into the lane. That pass didn't have enough on it. Trine forcing a couple turnovers to stay alive. Dotson, of course! You shouldn't even have to shoot him. You can just declare, I'll be shooting for here, put 3 more points on the board. 27 now for Kyle Dotson, who becomes the 8th player this year to score 25 or more against Alma. But Alma has answered with 28 from Gernot and continues to lead by 10. Alma's going to talk this one over with 1:30 to go, though, as Dotson's 3-point parade has made this just a little uncomfortable in the Alma huddle.
Well, and you just mentioned it. He is the 8th player to get over 25 against the Scots, and in almost every one of those scenarios, they were second-half scoring bursts, especially you talked earlier about going back to the Finlandia game with Brandon Robinson. It happens consistently. The Scots will take what seems like one of the more premier scorers and close them out for the most part in the first half, and then they come in the second half and just manage to get the scoring that they usually do for an entire game.
Well, and that was one of the things. There's a nice article in the Morning Sun today about the Scots and, continuing to maintain their goal of an MIAA tournament title, that all you got to do is make it into the top 4 and then finish it off, and that it's a learning experience. Coach Sam Hargraves saying that we can't use these injuries as excuses, but we've got young guys out here who sometimes have not been able to handle the pressure of the second half of some of these games. But today, Alma has maintained that lead at 8, 9, or more up to 16. And we'll see if they can close that out here in this last 1:30. Trine just hasn't been able to get over that final hump. Even as Dotson has gone crazy, Alma has not seen an offensive fall-off. Trine obviously will increase the pressure. I'd assume we may see a foul soon. Probably actually not on this possession now that the shot clock is down to 14. They'll play this one out. And in fact, they almost get the steal. Harvey does well to close on the ball, and now it's going to set up Gernot for the layup. Everybody was ready to go the other direction for Trine, and instead it's Gernot with his second 30-point game of the year. 33 back against Augustana. What a play by Dixon to get in. Did they count that basket? Foul was on Stevens. My view was obscured. And they will count the basket for Dixon. So 16 points for him. It's been a quiet 16, but it tells you what kind of player Will Dixon is when he can have 16, and Alma will probably be congratulating themselves on how they played against him. Surprising miss from the 80+% free throw shooter. And under a minute to go. And Laquetta again just finds a spot down under the basket. The Scots don't need to run clock when there's a guaranteed 2 points. And the lead will be 12, 83-71.
And that is the surefire way to beat a press defense, is to have someone get beyond it. And if you have a good enough ball handler, good enough passer to get it into them, there's nothing better to beat the press defense.
And that's the luxury of all these guards that the Scots have. Dixon from way deep. Trine now with 27, 20, and 19 from its scores, and the Scots a little nervous there. Throw it over the top of Harvey and out of bounds. And Trine with another shot here, down 9, under 40 seconds to go, 39.9. Scheibert will come in, a little extra experience. Laquetta will take a seat with his 21-point night. Laquetta is 8 for 10 from the floor today.
It's absolutely incredible.
Dixon, the exact same spot, not the same result, though. And Scheibert got hacked twice. The first one didn't get called, the second one did. And that's going to be 5 on Dotson. Trine needed to give the foul there, obviously. Copeland was probably over the back of Scheibert on the rebound to begin with. It will be a 1-and-1 situation. Pins the clock at 31.6 seconds, but Alma up by 9. Scheibert looking at an important front end. Alma still strangers at the foul line tonight. 4 of 5 is all. Obviously 80% just fine, but only getting 5 chances. A little surprising. But Scheibert unfazed.
6 free throw attempts does seem like very little, but that's actually something the Scots have been running into consistently this year, is not getting to the free throw line, especially considering Scott Nikodemski got to the free throw line. It seemed almost 10 times a game.
Sure. Well, and Nikodemski, somebody who could score from anywhere on the floor, generating that ridiculously high field goal percentage that he had. Long three-point try. Harrington and out, no good. 2 Scots will come in for the rebound. Stevens wins the battle, and it looks like Trine's going to call it off and let Alma run the clock out here. And the Scots are going to win this one by 11, 85-74. Move to 3-2 in the MIAA and 7-9 overall. A hard-fought win. It was an early run that put the Scots in the lead, and then they held on from there. Never really wilted, as we said. Anytime that Trine got back to about 8 or 9 points, the Scots had an answer. And that's something that Sam Hargraves is going to feel very good about as this team continues to build experience.
You know, the same common theme we end up with at almost every game anymore. We're talking about guys that come up from the JV side and play well. Preston Laquetta, 21 points. We see the emergence of Jared Long again. It almost seems like you could pick any guy that started last semester on the basketball team or in the program, and they could possibly be a varsity starter at some point this year.
Sure. Yeah. Apparently, if you put me on the JV team for like 2 weeks, I'd become good at basketball. It seems that's the way it works. Is the likes that have come up really have been great contributors in the future. Very, very bright for Sam Hargraves and the Scots. Looking at these final stats here, Alma wins at 85-74. They shoot 34 of 58, nearly 59% from the floor. They go 11 for 23 from long range, 47%, and 6 of 7 from the line. They win the rebounding battle, 33-25. You know, you thought that was going to be a real challenge for them tonight, and they came up big in that department. Obviously, 33 rebounds isn't a ton, but when there's only a total of 58 rebounds in the game, then you're getting it done. It just means there weren't a lot of missed shots, as Trine shoots 48% as well. Alma gets 30 points off the bench, and also 9 second chance points, which is not a huge number, but there just aren't a lot of second chances when you're shooting as well as they are. Individual efforts, both teams, a couple of outstanding performances. Trevor Gernot leads everybody with 30 points, which somehow is not a career high for him even this season. But 21 points from Laquetta ties his career high. Scheibert also a nice game with 12. And then over on the Trine side, they get 27 out of Kyle Dodson. That is a season high for him and maybe a career high. I don't know. Miles Copeland had 15 in the first half. And then Will Dixon, a very quiet 19 points, but he heated up late and kept Trine in this game. And that's certainly somebody that Alma will have to be prepared to deal with again when these two teams square off in Angola later in the season.
So, something else interesting to point out, we talked about Alma winning the rebounding battle, and I think that has more to do with the fact that more guys stepped up in the rebounding efforts. We had 4 players with 5 rebounds or more, Edwards with 5, and then Scheibert, Gernot, and Ryan Stevens each having 7 rebounds. Stevens coming off an 8-rebound game just last weekend against Calvin. Stevens ended the game with 0 points, but 7 rebounds and 3 assists proves that he can be a productive guard at whatever you need him to do.
Well, he is an extremely adept rebounder for a guard, and that's one of the things that both Stevens and Harvey really offer is some size at the guard position. That they're able to do that. You see somebody like Scheibert, who is 6'3" and had to play in the post tonight like he was about 6'6". And so Alma is learning how to play bigger than they are. Score update from the Alma women. That earlier score update that we had clearly had not updated completely because that game is in the fourth quarter on basically the same sequence as we were here. And the Lady Scots locked in a battle with Adrian, 72-71 Adrian with 1:06 to play. So if you want to check out elmascots.com, there are live stats there, and I believe a link to a video feed from Adrian. So we'll actually wrap this up so the Scots fans can get over and check that one out. Obviously, there will be a little bit more action. There's probably going to be some late fouling to extend that game. But meanwhile, the Scots get a big win here at home, 85-74 over Trine, and hold on to at least a share of third place in the MIAA. They'll still be a couple games behind Hope and Calvin, who are undefeated so far, but keeping themselves in good position to earn that MIAA tournament berth at the end of the season. So For Harrison Malone, I'm Topher Goggin. Thanks to our camera crew. Who's playing Steven's role tonight?
All right, so Stephen Kipps, usually our technical director. We have new guy Sam Swem, usually on the camera, but technical director tonight. And then Zach Bosley and Brandon Roach, the usual suspects behind the cameras.
All right, well, thank you to everybody. Good job, folks, to get this one on the air and out there. Flip over, get the video of the Scots against Adrian in the last minute. Scots down by 1, but the men winners tonight, 85-74. Our next broadcast for men's basketball on elmascots.com, February 1st. Scots will be on the road from now to then. But until that time, go Scots. Winners tonight against Trine, 85-74.